Hey, Dima, how's it going?
Hello, Rob.
Look, I'm slipping up. I forgot to take some graphics off. Jeez, I feel like it's amateur night tonight with me. I hope you're ready for this.
It's okay.
You
okay.
look great. How are you doing?
I feel that I'm very dark.
See?
All the light, the California sunlight behind me, making me dark.
San Diego is looking good on you, though, my friend, I have to say.
Well, the suntan is looking good on you.
Yeah, it's helping. You know, I can't get a suntan on the couch. Just trying to get outside more, keep moving, dropping some weight, too.
Good for you.
know?
That's good. What you're doing.
Just moving more. Again, off the couch. And then I just found that eating kind of gets just a little bit better when I'm not eating Popeyes and Cane's and Brothers Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Well, good for you. That sounds great. And now we lost Rob again.
Today. Here we go. Did we make it back?
You are still frozen. Good thing we can hear you.
Literally amateur night tonight. I wonder if anyone can see us. Is anyone there? Are you there?
We have people there. Yeah, we have people there. And you are frozen.
Can you hear us? Are we back? Dima.
They may hear you, but they cannot see you. So how about, yes.
I have something for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for it, though?
I am very ready.
Is it going to work? There we go.
Yeah, we've been using this a lot. We were making fun of it, and now we are using it a lot.
I'm having issue central now. This is not clicking off.
The technical issues are
We're having technical issues with the technical issues graphic. Hopefully our guest is still around to deal with amateur night tonight at Wednesdays at 7.
Well, assuming he's not frozen himself.
I know. Well, I mean, they call him Mr. Freeze, but that's just because he's ice cold with the interviews, killing it out there, crushing it day to day.
You're insulting our guest before he even gets on the show.
Let's bring him on before I lose him and I cause us to have more malfunctions. So here we go. Paddy G is in the house, y'all. Let's bring him on in. I hope you're there, Mr. Patrick Gremion. Come on with us, my man. Are you there?
What's up? I'm here.
We made it.
I am here.
I love it. All right.
Wow.
Patrick Gremion, also formerly known, the artist as Paddy G, right? How do you introduce yourself now? You're so popular.
I don't even know, man. It's like you walk into a room and it's like, hey, I'm Patrick Gremion. Like it happened today. I was like, hey, I'm Patrick Gremion. Like, wait, who is that? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, you might have a Paddy G. Like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
That's what I was wondering. Dima, it does. I was wondering how the flow was going to be because do I want to call him Patrick? You know, Mr. Gremion? Do we go with Paddy G? Just Paddy? I think it's going to be a mixture tonight.
Look, I'm here for the ride, man. Whatever you want to call me. Anything but late for dinner, right?
I am hungry as well. Dima, how are you doing? Do you know the Paddy G?
I'm hungry too. I didn't hear your question because I've been thinking about food.
Me too. My stomach is growling. It's not the air conditioner rumbling. It's my tummy. So, do you know each other, Dima? Do you know the infamous G?
We just met backstage.
Yeah, we were chit-chatting up backstage before we got started.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, look, from what I know, Mr. Patrick Gremion kills it on his day-to-day doing this accounting gig. He is now blowing it up with his show, the Paddy G Show. We got to ask him how many shows he has underneath his belt. There's been an evolution, and now he's big time in it, big time. And then
I wouldn't say
let's fast forward. He's filling in on 107.3, and I don't know I think what we have is we have Jay Ducote on the show again tonight. This is crazy. It's really confusing. He's an entrepreneur. So we're going to talk about a million things tonight, but can you at least give the audience a small taste of who you are, what you do, and then, a little bit about why you're on the show tonight?
So,
What do you think?
yeah, I
What do
mean,
you think?
I don't
Because
I
we
don't know if I
invited
can
them.
answer. I don't know if I can answer why I'm on the show tonight. I still have
No.
no earthly idea why somebody
are
would
you
want to interview
here?
me.
Why is anyone here? We should be eating. We're all hungry.
That's what I'm saying. Let's break. Like, put the technical difficulties. We'll break for dinner
Go
and we'll
grab
come
something.
back.
But here we go. We're back
There it
there.
is.
Be right back.
We need another one, Rob, another design that says something about need a minute to eat or something.
Food break.
Yeah.
Need snacks.
Yeah.
And you know what people would say about that? They love it. They like it. That's what they would say.
Killing it with the graphics, Rob. I
graphics.
love it.
Yeah. We have to show off all of them.
It's $19 on the internet will get you graphics like that.
I'm telling you, man, that's way more tech than I know of. You know, I started out, like you said, I started out doing it with myself. We started out with the same old iPhone 8. I haven't upgraded. Same phone when I started the show, just doing straight up recordings on an audio message and then post-producing that into a podcast. And fast forward a year and a half and 81 episodes later, and we've got a full-blown 4-person production team that comes with us and sets up lighting, cameras, microphones, you name it.
Wow.
And it all just kind of got away from me. I don't know how I ended up here, just kind of one day after another, one show after another, and here we are.
Wow. That sounds so impressive. You have 4 people doing all the production? Wow.
Yeah, 4 people there the day of the show doing the filming, the picture taking, the audio, and then they post-produce it later on, and then I end up posting everything across all the social channels.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Did you know that starting your podcast on using an audio, the audio app on the iPhone was going to do it for you? I mean, look where you're at with 4 people helping out. This is so regular. You have guests out the wazoo. I have so many questions for you.
So let's go back to the first question.
Okay, fine.
Tell us about this. Let's go a little back. Okay, tell us about yourself.
So, born and raised Baton Rouge kid. Went to Our Lady of Mercy K through 3rd, and then I was homeschooled all the way till I attended LSU, where I graduated with a dual degree in accounting and entrepreneurship and a minor in communications. So from there, I went to work at a local firm, Daigrepont Brian, when I think I was probably a junior. I still don't know how I got the job. I don't remember applying. They just kind of sent me an email and said, hey, can you come in for an interview? And I said, sure. And then here I am 4 or 5 years later, however long it's been, still working there. So love it. Love the accounting side of things. It kind of opens up the idea and the vision as to what goes on behind closed doors for businesses. And then I decided to get this wild hair one day when I was just sitting and talking with, some of my friends, and they're all like, oh, we can't wait to leave to go to Dallas or, name inner big city here. And I was like, well, why are you leaving? And they all told me, well, there's no opportunity here in Baton Rouge. So I'm going where there is opportunity. And I told them, well, y'all are all dead wrong. There's so much opportunity here. There's so many great businesses here. Rob, one example. And so from there was this passion project of, I need to showcase Baton Rouge for everybody that's here, all the businesses that are here, the entrepreneurs that are here. And podcasts are huge and they're only going to get bigger. So why not just start a podcast? So then I spent 4 months researching how to do a podcast, learning all the tech, learning all the behind the scenes, what platform to use, what platform not to use. And then being the frugal individual that I am, did everything for the free versions. Still am using those free versions today. And then I just sat down for the first episode by myself, and 5.5 minutes I recorded an episode, and then I just posted it. I was like, the first episode is brutal to listen to now that I go back to listen to it. And I'm like, okay, let's go back and listen to this. And it's like, oh, I don't know where I'm going with this. I know what I want to do. Here's the general gist of the show. And y'all have a good night. And that was it. Then the second show evolved into me sitting on my kitchen table with my iPhone again, interviewing a friend of mine, David Allender with Carpe Momentum. And then from there, I just sunk my heels in and started buying gear from Amazon. I think the whole first kit maybe cost me like $100 to get everything, all the gear that I needed. It was so basic and so inexpensive, not cheap, inexpensive. And then I just started using all that. Then we morphed into a production guy, came in, then left, and then I did it by myself for the remainder of last year. And then December, I was like, all right, 21's the year. 21's going to be the year. We're going all in, no questions asked, whatever it takes. So then he texted up a buddy of mine from high school. And yeah, homeschoolers have friends. And was like, hey, do you still do productions? Because he had a production company at the time. And he said, I do. And I said, well, you ever done a podcast? And he says, no, but we can probably figure it out. And so he had done, I watched, I think 12 to 13 hours of the content he had created, whether it be short movies or online lesson plans. It's like, all right, knows his stuff, knows his tech, let's go. And so then the first episode came, we did it out of Point Marie, and then we've been at Uncle Earl's ever since.
Wow. That was the evolution I was talking about, Dima. I saw this sense of maturity and this polishness come on even after I was a guest on the show. But I mean, what made you take that step to invest in it? Because it not just on doing it on the inexpensive, cheap side, but moving to a full-on production, that takes some, you know what I mean?
Stones. Take some stones, right?
Yeah. Why?
That's it.
And what got you there? Was there a tipping point?
There wasn't a tipping point, I would say. It was more this progressive thing. Like I had seen how I was doing everything in November of last year. I was doing everything with wireless, lapel mics and streaming straight to my Mevo. And that was working great. We had some excellent guests and we had some excellent content, and the shows, they were doing great, and I was like, I want to take it to that next level for 21. And I started lining up guests, and in December we were booked through February. And so I'm like, okay, it's time to go up another level and to really reach that next tier of a show and take it from a podcast as a hobby to now it's a show. Like I don't even want to restrict it to the word podcast, because we reach people on so many different platforms, so many different mediums, whether it be photos, videos, shorts, short videos, you name it. We reach them wherever we can. And so it's like, if someone asks me, well, what's your podcast? I'm like, well, no, it's really a show. And it's like, it's more like a Netflix series, if you think about it. It's a web series, but it's a web series, Netflix kind of rendition of my interpretation on it. And it really just came down to wanting that next level and being like, okay, I'm going to buckle down and just bite the bullet. And now I've got to work my tail off to get sponsors to make this show continue.
Wow. And that's what I was going to ask, is like, how are you monetizing it? How are you covering all of the costs for the production?
Currently, a lot out of my pocketbook, I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's how it works.
But it is going through, we've got some great sponsors on board. I just had lunch with good old Barrett Blindo of Falaya, and he came on board today as a sponsor, and we've got Trey Stone. So we're getting there. Got some more meetings lined up to see who else we can secure in, and taking it one day at a time.
That is great.
And there was this, I remember, you and Kazra and Startup Grind, there was this parallel there. There were some, synergies. And then look at the evolution. You've gone from podcasts and now it's a show. You have this vision of, this Netflix style production value to it. That is impressive. And my internet's probably going out right now.
No, we still can.
Good. You're good.
We still can see you.
Okay, great. But you can't.
Oh, we can hear you.
All right. Okay. Because I have a graphic I could throw up.
No. You're good. You're good. You don't need to put the technical difficulties. Yeah.
Maybe we haven't pounded the joke into the ground enough yet.
No, I think we're good.
Look, I mean, the thing is the Paddy G Show is legit. It's on another level right now, and I mean, is that kind of tough to maintain? You've got a lot of momentum going. You're on 107.3. You still have a day job. I think you recently got married. Am I off base there too?
No, we got married 2 years. I've been married for 2 years now.
Okay, so still kind of in 2 years ago. But how do you juggle all of these things, new marriage and all of these other things?
You have to have a very understanding wife, number one, or a significant other, number one. That's first and foremost. If they're not understanding and they don't see the passion behind you and what drives you, it motivates you, whatever you're doing is going to be short-lived, just end of story. And secondly, you have to love the process above the product. So loving the actual grind of talking with these people, sitting down, recording the show, talking with potential sponsors. If you don't love what you're doing, the results of what you're doing don't matter. And so that has kind of been my driving force of not getting burnt out, of not just losing my mind and going crazy, is the fact of I thoroughly, genuinely enjoy sitting down with people, having them on the show, doing the post, working in the back behind the scenes, and just making the show what it is.
Well, maybe the show will do so well. So your next level is to leave your job and do that full time.
That'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool. doing a show full time. That'd be pretty cool.
That is so great. What's your favorite show? You said 81. So out of the 81, which ones are your top ones?
Gosh, it's hard to nail it down to one, just because they were all so great. And, obviously Rob's was top tier for sure.
Whatever.
No, I mean, we've had some really great ones. We've had some that I've learned a lot from. I've had some that I've gotten more motivation to do what I want to do from. And they each in themselves hold a separate place. And it's like going back and like looking at each episode, it's like, okay, I can take tangible lessons learned from each one. Even as the host asking the questions, I'm like, this person inspired me so much to get out there and keep doing what I'm doing. So I don't think I have a specific favorite show.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the one that's yet to come.
Yeah. The reason I asked is Rob and I, every show we say this is our favorite show, every single show. And it's difficult to say the top ones, because each one has different stories and experiences and things you're learning. So even our not best ones are still so great.
Absolutely. And that's what I've found, is that every single episode I'm enjoying each one of them. And it's like, this is the best one yet. And it's like, my favorite one is always like the next one to be recorded. It goes back to, again, loving that process of doing it and actually sitting there and in the moment.
Yep. And learning about people's stories. There's just so many people learning about their journey and where they are right now. Just like even with your experience, what you shared with us, how it started and where you are right now. It's just amazing to visualize how your journey happened just in the last few years.
Yeah, it happens. It happens fast when you keep your head down. You take your look back. I have like a 5-year mark. I'll keep my head down for 5 years, pick my head up at 5, look where I'm at. All right, great. Right back down.
And talking about each show, each one does have you have a different connection with each one. And like Dima says, my favorite show is always this last show we just did, until I click go live on StreamYard for that next show. And then that cycle just kind of overlaps so well. And talking about the tangibles of bringing away something, you just said process over product. That's an easy way of saying, enjoy that grind and what I guess sort of what your polished product is at the end, you'll enjoy even more. But if you like that process, that journey, you'll have that connection. There is an emotion, and most of the time it's going to be positive. But even talking about picking your head up and every 5 years, I mean, when's the last time you picked your head up from the show to see the milestone or where you've reached, or maybe what that next milestone is? When's that last time you picked your head up for the Paddy G Show?
So I haven't had a pick my head up moment for the Paddy G Show, but I've had a next milestone goal.
Okay.
And that was last year. That was last year in December when the milestone was bring on the production crew. And so that was my milestone of, all right, let's take it to the next level. But I have yet to pick my head up.
Than you expected? Was it, in the timeline of it?
From initially starting out the show, yeah. I couldn't tell you a year or two ago that the show would be where it is today. I couldn't. It was unfathomable at that point in time that the show would be where it's at, that the guests we've got coming would be who they are. The fact that we're booked through August right now, it's just, that is not, yeah, like it's not something I would have imagined.
Wow.
So how often do you have this show?
Once every week.
Wow. And you're booked till August.
Yeah. Booked through the third week in August, I think.
Wow. So are you having people reach out to you asking to be on the show, or you're reaching out? How is it working?
Both and. So going into the year, it was all a majority me reaching out to people. And then over time, the show's grown. People have seen what the show does and what it can do, and they've started to slowly reach out. Mm-hmm. And so within that comes a curation process that everybody who has any type of show would want to do. And that is, if I'm reaching out to you, I'm doing the research, right? I'm doing the hours of research, making sure you're going to be a good guest, making sure you're going to fit the show, making sure we can talk for an hour. Like, just number one, make sure we can sit and have a conversation. And so whenever somebody reaches out to me, I'm like, absolutely, let's grab lunch, let's chat. Let's make sure that we have a good relationship outside of the show. And then we can come on the show once I learn more about you, what you do, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I know Rob and we built so many new friendships just because of our chit chat. So I'm sure it's the same thing with you, going to have lunch with someone that you're meeting for the first time and connecting with them on the show. So it just keeps increasing your network.
100%. I've got 81 new friends.
Mm.
When did you start the show? Do you have a start date for the show? Like on the calendar, it was this day?
So I can, if you bear with me for an uno momento, I can
go for it.
I can tell you the exact date the first show went live. September 24th, 2019.
September 24th?
Yeah, September 24th, 2019.
Wow. 81 shows.
81. Yeah, we just recorded our 81st show on Monday.
Wow.
So I think the shows we've got on the books, I think, put us past 100.
Wow.
Okay, so you've got a show, you do it once a week. What
Right.
day do you film the show?
So the show is filmed every Monday. We try to stay around the 6:30 timeline. We've only had to bump it up once this year because LSU basketball Final Four. I mean, I don't know why they didn't push the game back, knowing my show has that start time, but whatever. Apparently they're more important than I am. So that one we had to bump up to like 5:30. But the rest of them, they've all been at 6:30 every Monday at Uncle Earl's. And it's been a good time. It's after, everybody's home and everybody's able to kind of relax a little bit and they can tune in and watch, or they can come out to Earl's and actually witness it in person. We've seen our in-person attendance has started picking up, which is exciting. That's the goal, is to make it more of a networking thing than a distanced show, right? Because when you're behind the camera and you push out that finished product, there's that distance between the viewer and the actual guests and host. And so I'm trying to kind of eliminate or minimize that distance as much as I can, so people can really feel like they're in the show, they're in the room with us, they're a part of the conversation.
Wow.
And Dima, this is great. It's awesome because his show has evolved so much over this span of time, because you were doing this, sitting on your kitchen counter, and then there was a time when we did it virtual. You also then had some at Point Marie. I think you did some on your back porch, maybe. And then I don't even know. Maybe I'm throwing that out there. I could be wrong. And then now you've evolved to Uncle Earl's live show. There's
Correct.
And with a networking component, there is also this. There's also on top of this, you have some production, post-production after. How long does it take from Monday for you? You know, if you just film the show on Monday, for you to pump out the few videos or the additional posts via social media over the week?
So the show is filmed on Monday. Currently, we are 2 weeks in backlog, meaning that we could not record another show, and we'll have shows for the next 2 weeks. So there was only the first week, my team hated me. The first show of the year, my team hated me because we had nothing in the backlog. And I said, hey, we're going to film the show on Monday. I need everything by Wednesday.
Yep.
Oh, and we have to film another show on Tuesday. So they were like, okay, we're not doing that again, ever. Like, never doing that again. I said, no problem. I said, look, we'll get a backlog. So we've worked in a couple of backlogs. And from the time we film, they typically turn it around in less than a week. And so I'm able to start planning. And now I've figured out and studied the requirements for Facebook creator. And now I can actually schedule out my posts on both Facebook and link and Instagram, because they were fuzzy with the IGTV cover photo requirements, and I had to figure all that out. So finally I figured that out. I'm like, now I can schedule this stuff in advance and make sure it's all posted at the proper time and it all comes out. I have yet to get to where I'm like a couple of days ahead. It's mostly me scheduling it the night before or the very early, like 5 o'clock in the morning, for it to post later that day.
Wow. That is so interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you get we typically have like 16, 18 photos, and then we have 5 clips that are in 2 separate formats. That are, one format is for Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and then we have another format that's for IGTV, which we then have an intern who then takes the formatted videos and chops them up even further for TikTok, where we post about 15 to 20 clips a week on TikTok.
Wow.
It's all about
Paddy
content.
G on TikTok, man. I had no idea you had tickies flying out there.
Oh yeah. We're on the TikTok.
It is a lot of work. So now I can only imagine the significance of all the work that's going on in the background to keep having things going on. Wow.
Yeah. You
need to check with your internet provider. Is it Quad?
I'm going to put in a ticket with an IT company later on this evening.
You may want to do that. I know of one that maybe I
wasn't trying to be rude, but now I need to jump. I'm going to get underneath the desk. Y'all talk. I need to get my internet up. I'll be right back.
My goodness. Good old Rob. This is primetime TV right here.
This is a journey.
That's the part where it would be edited if it was with your team. This is the part. Okay, we'll keep talking.
So right there, so the editing. So the show is not really edited. So like from start to finish, there's not much editing that happens from like clipping it up. So like if there's a long pause or ums or uhs, they don't clip that out. I tell them to leave all that in so it's organically flowing and it's not choppy. Now, they do go back in, polish it up, make me look a little better. That takes a lot of work. They typically just put a different face in front of me and then call that good. And then, the guests are already radiating, so they're perfect. And then it just comes together in this great back and forth for the YouTube and all the other post-productions.
Wow. Too funny. I have no clue what you did.
I just broke the internet, I think, with this show. We've been waiting to talk to the infamous Patrick Gremion, Paddy G, Paddy. We had the last time we had to reschedule because I just got my second dose of Pfizer, so I was knocked on my ass all day long, and I just couldn't do the show. So we had to reschedule, and I apologize profusely. I wish we had a backlog so you wouldn't notice that, but we had a show, show gap there. you have a schedule to maintain and sponsors to make happy. Is that stressful?
I think as an entrepreneur, if you're not living in a constant state of stress, maybe you're not doing it right. Or maybe you're not pushing yourself hard enough, right? Maybe you can push yourself a little harder and get that little bit of stress at all times.
Bring up that edge. Dima, what are you surprised about learning about the Paddy G Show? I mean, is it how fast it's, matured? Is it just learning about, Patrick himself? What have you enjoyed so far?
Well, getting, of course, to know him, because I see your post on LinkedIn specifically. I don't see it on the other platforms, but it's fascinating to hear about your journey. But the main thing I'm surprised about is how you have to get the clips and cut them into different sizes and post them in different places. I do the like the different size with the post on the different platforms, but I can only imagine how much work is going on with your videos and TikTok, and it's a lot of work. And you're right, what you said, and I wrote it down. It is like you have to love the process more than the result, because if you're just focused on the result, this process would be frustrating. It's going to take a lot of time, especially when you have a day job and all of this. So that's another thing I took out of this, is like, we need to love the process. If you don't love the process, it's not even worth it. Yeah,
you have to, what I find a lot of entrepreneurs will happen to them over time if they don't love that process. Either a barrier is going to be too big for them and they're not going to be able to push through it, or B, they're just going to get so burnt out of working however long they have to grow what they want, right? It's going to get stuck. It's going to get monotonous. Like, don't get me wrong, posting 20 clips a week on one platform and then posting 10 others on other platforms, you're looking at like 40 clips, 40 posts a week across 5 different platforms. It's not for the faint of heart, one, and it's not for those that just want everything automated and kind of a simple process. It's a true system that has to be carefully crafted and worked on, or else it just stops, and at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur, the buck stops with you. If I don't post, it's not going to get posted, right? If I don't do this, it's not going to happen. And so with all of that, I just love doing it. I just love everything that comes about, and seeing the finished product is great, but the finished product is not like the end all be all.
Yeah. Because you'll be ready for the next one, which is so great. So how do you prepare for your guests? What do you do?
So the prep I do is minimal because I don't want it to sound scripted. So like, I go into the show with basically no list of questions. It's just a matter of me sitting down, having a conversation with them. The extent of my research is reading about their business, reading about who they are, what kind of a person they are. And so a little bit of emails back and forth if they have like a write-up or a bio or something. And then I do a little bit of LinkedIn stalking to kind of see their progression that has occurred in their career. But outside of that, it's pretty much fly by the seat of my pants. I trust the research I've done is going to get me through, and the guests, they're all amazing people with wonderful things to say and have all done superb in their businesses.
That's exactly what we do. We don't have a whole list of questions. We have some of our guests asking for those, and we're like, it's a chit chat. We're coming here to let's have a conversation. It's going to be fine. Yeah, that's the best way.
Oh, 100%. I initially created a list of questions to kind of make sure I had enough questions in my head that I could fill the show to the length I wanted. And I think I read through the questions maybe once or twice, but after that, it was just, I don't need the questions, because the questions, now don't get me wrong. I'm about to say I don't really use a lot of questions. I don't like the structure. There are shows that thrive on questions. They thrive on that structure. They thrive on that perfectly polished, perfectly crisp show. That just wasn't for me. And that's just, what my show was about, and what I wanted the show to be was not that. Again, I wanted it to feel like a conversation, like we're sitting in the room together. And so that is what kind of led me away from getting the set list of questions, because I didn't want to be sitting there looking down at the questions, looking for prompts the whole time. I would rather be engaging and listening to what the guest is actually saying. And then once they finish, I'm able to do a follow-up, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, questions can be great. And if you're just starting out and you're not sure if you can have long conversations with people, or if you want a super long show, great, get some questions written down, know what you want the show to be about. What I basically did with the questions was kind of get a general thesis of what will this show contain and what will the show be about. And then from there, I just ran with it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I'm glad that Rob.
I'm glad you could join us, Rob.
He's
we're
either
just having a little
frozen
chit
or
chat over here.
he disappears and then pops up again.
So I figured out what the issue was.
What?
Well, I put in that ticket with IT Inspired. They got back to me. And I also dug underneath my desk, and it was the phone. My phone was rebooting itself. It was really fun.
Okay.
I fixed that, and I'm so happy to be here. Sorry, y'all.
That's funny. Well,
we're great. We're glad,
Paddy,
glad
at least
to
you
have
don't
you.
have to deal with that.
Post-production.
You don't have to deal with that in your show. Here we have a whole different dynamic going on.
But you do have some hiccups from time to time. I had one show, 2 shows actually, that the first 15 minutes we had to use the Facebook Live audio because the producer forgot to press record.
It happens.
It happens.
It
It happens to the best of us. So it's not all, you know, I've spent probably 20, 30 minutes before a show trying to get my cameras to connect and link up and connect to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is like the biggest limiting factor, but yet one of the greatest assets.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something so unrelated to everything we're talking about. I keep looking at your background, and I'm curious about what do you have in your background? What is that? What is it?
What is that?
Yeah, what that and the thing next to it.
Oh, so that is a Canon camera.
Okay.
That is a big pile of cables and auxiliary outlet plugs. The blue box is a craft box full of markers and colorful crayons.
I know those craft boxes. Got a few.
The box above, then you've got some Paddy G golf balls, and then you've got a Behringer mixer.
Oh wow!
Paddy G golf balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. My wife thought it would be a good. I think it was a Valentine's Day gift. She saw them. She was on Amazon and was like, "Wait, you can customize golf balls off Amazon," and so she bought it with the Paddy G Show on it.
Oh, that is so great.
That's a good gift.
You do have a lot of stuff behind you.
Yes, here I'll do a little. There we go. Now
yes, stay like that. So
there we go.
It sounds like your show evolved a lot. So what is next? Where are you taking it?
So next we gotta there's some stuff in the works that's not able to fully be discussed. I'll just say construction's happening.
Good.
So buildings taking place, stuff's being built. We'll leave it with that.
I think you've built a lot on the momentum you already have, and just seeing what your potential is, I guess, has to be pretty exciting for yourself. I mean, you got something where you could probably take it full time, but you've got this day job thing. I mean, did you survive tax season? It seems like you did.
So I survived initially because I was able to pass the CPA exam and get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So what? Raise the roof.
Well done.
I should get my license. I should get my license Friday or Monday once the board sits and approves it. So getting that off of my chest and mostly off the mental space, like you don't realize, like if you're studying for something or you're trying to get through a certain task or go up another level, you've got this mental space that's constantly being occupied. Like I could be sleeping and just wake up with a nightmare of the exam. Like it was that like much occupancy in my brain space. And so once that was done, I was like, oh, great. Now I got all this free time. And I was like, okay, wait, no, I don't. The show's now filled it all up. But with tax season being extended is brutal. I'm not going to lie. I would have much rather it be done at April 15th and worked like 100-hour weeks just to grind everything out. But now we have to go through May 15th for everywhere except Louisiana and parts of Texas, which gets till June 15th. So another year like last year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But I love that too.
We're looking forward to figuring out what's next once it is public and you're able to share it with us. Maybe we'll bring you back so we can talk about it.
That's right. It's production. The hint is it's production on another level from what we're already at.
Nice.
Wow.
So
it's a nice
it'll be.
hint. I'll take it.
Yeah, a little nugget. It's coming. It's in the pipeline.
It's gonna be a TV show.
It's on Netflix. He just said
This is a Netflix series here.
Maybe.
Look, he just saw this. He's like giving a wink and hit away.
That's right. I don't know. We'll see. There's some stuff in the works. So
that is awesome. So I mean, it sounds like do you find that you have fulfillment from your day job, but you're also getting fulfillment from this as well, an extracurricular side as well?
So yes and yes. I find the day job to be fulfilling in the fact that I truly do love accounting. I truly do love being able to work with tax returns and businesses, so on and so forth. But within that, it's kind of you can't really get creative with a tax return, right? There's some areas of gray, but for the most part, it's pretty standard. It's pretty black and white. What you can do, what you can't do, right? And so from the show side, it fulfills that entrepreneurial with that entrepreneur inside of me, right? So that sense of owning my own thing, running my own business, doing exactly what I want, and kind of for whatever reason, I love having the pressure of everything's on me. I don't know why that for whatever reason to me is like exciting at the end of the day. It's like, okay, great. It's all on me. I got to do this. But yeah, I find fulfillment within both avenues.
Wow. So obviously you have a lot on your plate. What do you do for fun?
Golf or spend time with my wife.
Hitting his face on the Paddy G golf balls at the range.
Right. That's why you got the gift. Yeah.
That's right. We were at a charity golf tournament last Friday that I sponsored. So I had a little day away, heading up to do a wedding party in Nashville this weekend. So I take some leisures, may not be a whole lot, but when I can, I enjoy some quality time with my wife and family.
Good. Okay, Rob, I asked all my questions. The floor is you. You get the microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so is there something from an entrepreneur that you have discussed in your show that was maybe a tough topic to I guess for them to discuss on the show? Have you had an experience where there's been some tough topics to discuss on your show?
Yes, we've had a couple of topics, both business wise that were tough, as well as societal issues that were tough. So we've kind of hit both of them.
Do you notice that flavors of what's going on in life and in our world, does that kind of inject itself into your show as you go along?
It does, because for most of the businesses that come on, they were impacted with what happened a year ago, right? They were impacted with the start of what made the show shift to virtual, right? And so a lot of the conversation is, how did you survive? What did you do to survive? Those wouldn't have been questions I was asking in late 2019 and even early 2020. I wouldn't be asking, how did you survive a pandemic, right? You know, how did you keep moving forward when you had to close your doors down? How do you move forward when your business is so personal and we have to maintain so much space? Those are the types of questions that we wouldn't have asked had what happening around us occurred. And so it's definitely a blend. It definitely spills into the show, whether we like it or not. You know, it's going to be a part of the show because it's what we are experiencing now.
You know, I'm not trying to take the record here, but have you cried on your show yet? Because I've done it like at least 6-7 times. We've had like how many shows, Dima? My cry to normal show non-crying ratio is probably 10% or more.
Well, it is genuine. It's genuine, and it is topics that are emotional and they touched your heart, and that's okay. So,
have you had moments where they've touched your heart in the Paddy G Show, Mr. Paddy G?
There have been moments where like what they said resonated with me and like hit me, and I was like, wow. Like I had to take a step back, and like you can go and like watch the shows, and like the cool thing about the video side is you can see it, right? So you can go back and be like, oh my gosh, like there was a 10-second pause. Like if you're listening to the podcast, you don't really get all of that, right? Like you can hear it in our voice and you can hear what we're saying. But when you go back and watch that video content from it, you're like, wow, this really like hit them. And so I have not cried yet, but there have been times that's taken me aback. I'm just like, it makes me really put a lot of stuff into perspective and realize, wow, you know, what everyone else experiences is not always the same thing that someone else does.
Look, new format. Cry on your next show and see what happens. It is just, it's amazing. You should do it at least 7 to 10 times.
Well, I'll have to try. The next guest is Flynn Foster, so we'll see what happens.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one. You've had some awesome guests, but I had a question and I remembered it, which always kind of helps in times like this when you're recording and you have the 10-second pause and you're like, did you just have a brain fart or you forget your question, Rob? So here's my question. Mr. Paddy G, have you watched a show on repeat of yours in the past? Have you gone back and watched a show of yours and be like, man, that was a good show, and then watched, like, man, that was a really good show?
I don't think so. I go back, I listen to every one of them. So I re-listen to every one of them whenever they go live on the podcast platform. So I like that went like every Wednesday, like today I did it. It's like today I got to work, put my headphones in and listen to the show. And yeah, they fire me back up again, but I haven't gone back and like actually watched the YouTube or the Facebook live of it. Now I watch every clip that I post. So I'm watching snippets of it. And of course the snippet team is pulling snippets. That's all like bam, 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 you know? And so it's great because those fire me up. But I've gone back and listened to a couple of shows more than once just to be like, wow, this is impactful with what was said. This is a good, you know, this was a great show. This was a great guest. Like a clip I've watched over time and time again was the clip with Gordy Rush talking about we're all in this together. If you're in the boat, you need to have a paddle. Otherwise, you don't even need to be in the boat. And talking about, you know, company culture and what they do at Guarantee and how he's like, we're all there with a paddle in our hands. We're not sitting up, you know, above everybody in the crow's nest, not working. We're there with everyone every single day. And I was like, that just rings true to seeing what they do in Guarantee with my involvement with them and just meeting the people that work there.
Have you applied anything that you've learned in your shows to your own life, to your own, you know, entrepreneurship? 100%.
100%. First thing that comes to the top of my head is my episode with Scott Godin, talking about how having that separation and having that off time, right? Having that time when you can disconnect fully from work and really be present with your family or whomever you're with, and putting your, you know, like I still have to check myself, and it's like, okay, I really need to stop, put my phone down, you know, totally disconnect and be ever present with my family. I am constantly reminded by that, just looking at the shows and having conversations with people.
Wow. Well, we have a question from our audience, Danny Fields.
I love me some Danny Fields.
Do you have a wish list of people you want to have on the show? Who has been the hardest guest to book?
Danny should ask the questions on Chit Chat with Dima and Rob. Just saying.
So I do have a wish list, Danny, and it's an ever growing wish list. So I do have one. Todd Graves is on there, obviously. I mean, Baton Rouge icon. Why, if he's not on somebody's wish list to get them on the show, like, what are you doing? If you have a business show in Baton Rouge, the hardest guest to book. So, Danny, I'm gonna need some clarification, and do you mean hardest as in the furthest out having to book, or just the hardest to work with personally, or just, kind of coordinate? Just elaborate on what you mean by that.
Guest you've had back and forth. You can't get it on the calendar. That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
I thought, like, when I read it, I thought it is like the most difficult person.
Okay. The most prestigious person that you're trying to go after, then? Is that what you're saying?
That's how I understood it.
Okay.
I would think.
We'll wait for Danny. Okay, Danny, go.
Yeah.
Type in the message.
So I'll kind of get to both of them. Both interpretations of the question. So the side of it being, who has been the most prestigious person trying to book? Oh, most prestigious, hardest to schedule. All right. Hands down, Brandon Landry.
Yeah.
Now, I say that without having reached out to Todd's team. So keep that in mind. So Brandon is supposed to be coming on in the fall. But his schedule is so hectic right now. I have to retouch base with him in July to then get him on maybe in September or something. So he has been the hardest to schedule and nail down a date. Surprisingly, Chris Moe, who's the founder of Waiter, he's coming on in August. He was fairly easy to book.
Awesome.
Just because I met him at an event and I was talking with him and chatting with him, and I know his son, and I was like, look, let's get you on. He's okay. He's like, well, I'm booked in June, July. Okay, great. What about August? He goes, oh yeah, I've got a date in August. I said, perfect. Let's book it.
Nice.
So he's on and booked for August, but nailing down when you start getting to those levels of people who have businesses that are beyond a 5, 10, 20 location. I mean, when you're talking Brandon, he's got 100 or something walk-ons. And then Todd's surpassed 700 canes, So it's, when you get to that national scale of a company, it really is challenging to nail something.
He's got his own show.
He does. Restaurant Recovery. It's airing every Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was very insightful. So, Paddy, what is one last thing you want to leave us with?
If you have a vision or you have a dream of a business or even a task you want to accomplish, you want to achieve, understand that it is a process, that it does take time, and that you have to be patient if you really want it to succeed. You have to be willing to go the extra mile. You have to be willing to have some late nights, and you have to be willing to push past the hard times. Because once you're able to get through all of that and you're able to get to the other side and be able to really recognize what you've accomplished and see the next levels you're going, it'll all be worth it in the end. And also, there is no such thing as an overnight success. Those typically take 10 years.
That is so cool.
Good wisdom.
Well, thank you.
Thank you all for having me. This was fun.
This has been a good one. Sorry for all the technical difficulties in amateur night tonight. We're a little rusty. Get back in the saddle.
All good. I'm here through it all.
Looks like my internet lines were also a little rusty, but we shook the dust off and we're back. So, Paddy, thank you so much for being a guest, man. Your show, your momentum, your excitement that you've built up has been incredible. I'm a huge fan. I love it. I'm loving the tags on Facebook, loving watching the shows. Dice it up as many different ways. I'm going to have to find you on TikTok now. I had no idea. And then
at Paddy G Show.
Okay. And then quick question. Did you try Clubhouse yet? Are you on Clubhouse with this?
So I am on Clubhouse. I have been working with a mini series concept to utilize Clubhouse.
Nice.
Because it's not good for the show in the long form platform that I have. It's not really conversational with a crowd. Right. So I've been trying to figure out how I can incorporate Clubhouse the best way I can to utilize guest time efficiently and also have that interaction that Clubhouse is so good for.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. It sounds like you've got your hands in everything, and the way this is going, we're going to see you each and every day, multiple backlogs, guests going to be they're going to be crawling for you trying to get on the show. You're going to have backlogs and you're going to be hard to book. This is awesome, man. Thank you for being a part of our show. We've loved it. And we're going to have you back in a little bit and see what this next milestone is going to be and see how you reached it and what you learned from that.
I'm all in, man, whenever you'll have me.
Awesome. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good one.
See y'all.
And that's it. We've had an amazing show. So we'd love you to suggest a guest. We're always looking for our next speaker. So be sure to tag or post someone in the comments. Thank you and have a great night. We'll see you next week.